on YouTube as well. And then we're going to be letting in all of our Zoom peeps. So thank you for being patient here as we get all of our I's dotted and T's crossed for this really powerful energy update that we're really excited to share with you all.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so we're going live across many different platforms here. So we're going to go live into our other spaces here. I'm going to let everyone into the Zoom room and we'll start recording over there as well. Amazing. So welcome everyone through all of the spaces that we're on here right now to this 2025 energy update. So like I said, we're going to be diving into the astrology, numerology, and we're also going to be tuning into the energetics and the bringing in the Pleiadians, bringing in DiYeena and the Pleiadian perspective. For those of you that are not familiar with DiYeena, we'll introduce her when the time comes. But we're going to go ahead and dive in. I want to start off by talking about the astrology because this is going to be a really, really powerful year astrologically. And so many of you probably are aware already that Pluto entered Aquarius. Now, that transition just happened, and the energetics of that are still rolling over. And that's something that happens every 20 years. Now, we have been moving into the age of Aquarius for some time, right? Leaving the dark age of Pisces into this new innovated age of Aquarius, the golden age that is awakening, that is here now for all of us. And this is really the first year that the astrology is showing that we're going to start to feel it and see it starting to materialize, meaning the new Earth frequency, the grid is starting to not only just energetically, but there's a materialization that's happening this year. And so there's a lot of other aspects in astrology that's happening. So Neptune moving into Aries, that happens every 14 years. Uranus is moving into Gemini, that happens every 7 years. Our nodal placements are shifting, which does happen every 18 months, but these nodal placements are moving into North Node Pisces, South Node Virgo, right? So we're moving out of the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius, yet the nodal points are also North Node in Pisces. So there's this interesting, right, kind of back and forth balance of this. And Pisces is really bringing us into deep introspection, deep spiritual journey and introspection, especially around our purpose and our mission here. And there's a lot happening, right? We're also in a 9 year. 2025 is a universal 9 year. What does that mean, right? Nine is all about endings and completions. And so we're going to see a lot of systems crumbling and falling this year. This is quite literally our collective tower moment. And so that may seem a little scary to some, right? When we see all that we've ever known starting to crumble and fall apart individually and as a collective, right? In our own life, we tend to hold on, even if we can feel that maybe this way of being, this system, or this habit, or this belief system, whatever it may be, right? I know that it's not serving me. And yet we're terrified to let it go because of the fear of the unknown. What is going to be on the other side of that? And so we're being called into a collective tower moment this year. And with the energy astrologically, everything is speeding up, right? And moving into this age of Aquarius as well, the innovation, right? Technology, there's a light and a shadow side that is speeding up simultaneously. And so we're really being called into grounding, not only into the new Earth grid, into the physical grid, putting our feet on the ground, but we're also being called into the depths of our own individualized truth, right? It's diving into what is going to keep you grounded. What spiritual practice are you being called into? So when more of the technology is ramping up and our outer reality is asking us to disconnect more from who we truly are, our soul's essence, what do you already have in place that you can ground yourself back into? Right. And so it's really figuring out what is working for you and how can you continue to implement those practices to stay connected to God, source, universe, whatever it is that you believe in, that higher power, staying connected into your spiritual truth. And so as I was sharing some of this with Ava before we hopped into this live chat that we have going on here, um, she had a really you had a really powerful reflection to that, or you had a really powerful just vision and download before we even hopped on. Do you want to speak a little bit into that? Because it just like I when you spoke into it, my whole body was like, oof, I could feel that. That is what's happening.
Yeah, it's really powerful what's happening right now. We're really moving into this momentum. We've really been building momentum year after year, and there's been more of this energy coming into the field, coming out from the hidden corners and coming into the limelight for really over 2 decades now. And the image that I saw was really like this freight train just coming down and just like this unstoppable energy. It's like we're at this point now where the energy, like it can't be stopped. What's happening cannot be stopped. And it goes into this whole thing of love does win here. So the places that maybe you're feeling fearful or uncertain, or maybe you have a little bit of anxiety around the mystery or the unknown, it's really a gentle invitation to really be in the frequency of trust this year, because what is happening is actually so powerful, so awesome, and so for the best of humanity. And we've both had these visions. We've both been connecting with, the higher guides that we're both connected to, and had these kind of conversations, both with Gaia herself, with the Pleiadians, with our own intuition. And everything is showing that this turns out good. This turns out even better than we can imagine. So our role here in this little blip on the radar, because another big piece is, even as you were speaking, Shylo, that was coming through, is really around this energy of time. And I know a lot of us can really relate to this, of feeling like, wow, like time really does seem to be speeding up or slowing down, or how is all this happening? It just feels like these little blips of portal hopping or timeline hopping, or just time is weird. We can all admit that time just feels really funny right now. And it is because on an energetic level, this reality that we're moving through into, it was one of timelessness. Like we're really moving into this frequency of timelessness. So we're losing the density. We're losing these kind of shackles and bonds that we've been kind of carrying around with us in these denser realities. And we're actually moving into these spaces that really carry a frequency of timelessness. So if you're finding yourself really kind of feeling like the time thing isn't adding up, it's because it's not. And so we're having more moments collectively where the time thing is really becoming less and less important. And even this morning, as Shylo was typing Happy New Year to me, I literally was typing back to her Happy New Year in quotation marks, because more and more of humanity is really waking up to the rhythms, to the natural rhythms and the cycles of what is actually true. We're in the dead of winter here in the Northern Hemisphere. This is not the new year. This is not the energetic new year by any means. We're actually in month 10. The only reason it's month 12 is because of taxes. So it's like once you start to understand the history, and this is really the story. So once you start to understand the history of why things are the way they are, and you really understand that, wow, the energetic new year is really when it starts to get green, when the snow starts to melt, when the birds start to return and chirp again. It's like this is really the starting anew. And so just recognizing even where your body's at right now, right? Even where your momentum is at right now, and just not necessarily feeling like you have to keep up with the pace of the external reality that's really not in sync and not designed to be in sync with this illusion of time. And so these constructs that have really been putting us into these holds of disillusionment with what, or the original quote unquote time is, which is really timelessness, that those walls are starting to crumble. They're really just falling down. And so it's really taking us into the original frequency that we're all here to hold, which is this frequency of timelessness. So that's really the place we're really finding ourselves in is in this year. And I really saw that the Tower of Babylon completely crumbling, completely falling down. And these are the old constructs as we're in this 9 year of completions. What is completing is, really all the BS, right? It's all of the BS that we all are just watching, like being like, what is happening with humanity? What is happening in this world? Like some of the craziest things we're watching on social or news or what, like it's like, really? That's what's going on, and it's just almost like, what? We're watching it fall apart like at the seams, and it's because this new earth energy that's is really coming here is here. It's already here, and we're all raising in frequency so quickly, quote unquote, because again, this isn't even about time, but it's about an embedded cycle that's already active within our blueprint coming online, having its fruition moment. And so that's what we're all experiencing collective here. And 2025 is really this point of no return, so to speak, in that direction of coming to this new earth frequency.
Yes, absolutely. I just love the vision that you had of the freight train because when I think of a freight train, I think of the power and just this momentum of energy that's coming through that really is unstoppable. And the freight train is representing love, right? And so we don't have to be afraid of this freight train, even though it's coming in, with all of its force and all of its power. And as it's coming through, right, anything that is not serving that frequency, the purity of love, is going to ask to crumble for you to let go of. And so just knowing that as we're stepping into this year, that it gets to be a beautiful gift, that all of your heart's desires on a soul level, that little whisper, that pull that you can feel deep within your heart, that you just know something beautiful is emerging on our planet. You can feel it to the depths of your bones because it's encoded in your DNA. And so, as that is pulling you forward, and you're witnessing everything that is no longer serving you on your individual experience and the collective in our collective reality crumble, we're being asked, those that really understand this path, to be so solid, to be so clear, to be so grounded that you can be a solid pillar that is standing and embodying the frequency of love instead of falling into the frequency of fear. Because as everything is crumbling, right, a lot of the collective may start to waver into fear. And so just noticing yourself, right? We can even think back to the years collectively without saying anything that's gonna get us triggered on here. It's things that have happened collectively in the past, right? Certain years. Where did you waver? Was there a real fear? Did you fall into a real fear paradigm with that? Or did you say stay solid in your heart, grounded and centered? And not that we need to go out and save the world. That's definitely not the pull or the calling there, but can you be an embodiment? Can you be that pillar for yourself so that you can quite literally be the example for others to go, oh wow, they're standing tall in their truth and they're still in their heart center, not falling into the mind trap of of all of the what ifs. And that is really what happens, right? When we get into the mind, that's when we fall into the fear of the unknown. And so 2025 is calling us into our heart, into the embodiment of the heart of no matter what is happening around us, right? The literally the tower moment collectively, can we still stay so solid and firm? And how are you being called to let go in this year moving forward? What are the things when we reflect, right? We're just now in this new year reflecting on 2024 for yourself. What were the things that were not working for you? And can you let go? Can you be in a place and a willingness to be in the death cycle before the rebirth of what needs to shift, what needs to pivot, so that you can also step into the higher and greater potential that you're being called into individually as well. And so we're in this beautiful opportunity. And, you know, even with us speaking into the tower moment, like I really want you just to be like the invitation is to release all fear. Because when I really tune into it, at least for myself, it doesn't feel scary. There's an excitement, there's an awe, there's a wonder of amazing. We're in this collective tower moment. I can't wait to see what we're going to rebirth together collectively on the other side. What is emerging? Because when I tune into the thing behind the thing, when I tune into what is actually emerging for all of us here, individually and as for a collective, it feels beautiful beyond measure. It feels like this, the deepest remembrance. It truly is our soul essence. And I know, Ava and those of you that are familiar with DiYeena, those of you that are not, you'll be familiar real soon. DiYeena talks about the soul song a lot of us tuning into our own sacred soul's song and that we're part of this greater symphony and that as we're sharing that authentic expression of our soul's sacred song, it's it's allowing the harmonics of really what's taking place. It's almost like the vision that I'm getting right now around this is that as each of us step into our most authentic expression and sing our unique soul's fingerprint, that's that song that is just a puzzle piece to the larger symphony that that sound, Ava is has a lot of experience in understanding sound frequency and how it can quite literally birth worlds and how it can shift and morph and be this great alchemizer. And I really believe that it's this energetic off each of our hearts. That every time we show up in this authentic expression, it's rippling into anything that's not in resonance with that, with our soul song, with our collective symphony, a little bit more is a crumbling, a little bit more is crumbling. And so each of you are adding into this tower moment the more that you show up in your greatest, most authentic expression.
Oh, it's so beautifully put. And that's exactly right. And it's just to really break that down in the most simple way. That's the only ask right now of you is to actually just be in your heart, is to actually just be in your most authentic expression, to be in the frequency of love. Because what is actually falling away is the pieces that are not aligned with that frequency. So for anyone that is able to be in their heart space with that, you really don't have anything to worry about because that's what's staying. That's what gets to live on here in this new experience that we're all choosing collectively together. That's what's staying alive. What's falling away is that which is not aligned with the highest expression of love as we're moving into this new higher paradigm of experience together, which is already happening. We're already all hanging out there and having the best time. And this is something that when DiYeena talks about it, it can feel a little, how is that possible that we can be, literally playing out in all these parallel realities at the exact same moment and only being aware of one, seemingly aware of one of them, right? But this is really from our understanding of actually what's going on here, and we're really just rising to meet the frequency of what's already awesome and playing out right now in this moment. So that is the only ask. So can you in this upcoming year really strip things down? If you feel called to create, by all means create, but can you be in the heart space and really strip down your life to where you can really be centered in who you are and really show up in that way consistently in every moment with no matter who you're around? That's really all that's being asked of you, and really all that's ever been asked of you. And so, from that perspective, it's like life just got really simple. It got really easy, right? So, we don't have to put so much pressure on ourselves to show up in a certain way or to produce in a certain amount or to have a certain impact. And that's great, again, if you feel called to do that. But let that be a natural expression of being in your authenticity rather than feeling any pressure to create because of X, Y, or Z feelings that you need to show up in that kind of way. Let that be the natural result of being in your authenticity. So that's a little bit of
Absolutely.
the difference there. Subtlety, but important.
Yes, yes, the subtleties are so important. We've been talking a lot about subtleties lately. I feel like it's that's the energy that's emerging too. It's can we be aware of the subtleties that are not so subtle, but they are really they're starting to emerge, right? And as we're expanding our own awareness and are expanding our own consciousness, those subtleties are really going to start to make themselves known. And that's where I believe the big shifts can really come in. And so I'm excited. I'm here for it. I'm thrilled that we're in 2025 and I'm excited to be on this journey alongside all of you. How are you feeling, Ava? Are you feeling that this is a good time to introduce DiYeena for those that are not familiar with her and maybe bring her in and see what she has to share about the energetics of 2025?
I think that's a great idea. And as we're doing that, anyone that is in the Zoom room, you're welcome to pop any questions that you might have into the chat as we're going through. And so I'll just do a quick little introduction. So DiYeena is a Pleiadian being that is my primary guide, and we have an agreement for her to kind of borrow my body to come and talk to everyone who, especially during this transition time, as we're kind of all moving through. And it's the Pleiadians have gone through this transition that we're all moving through, and so they're actually here supporting our evolutionary process, this ascension journey that we're all on collectively. They're here to help. They're here to really be a loving guide in that process to really help us stay out of the fear paradigm and really stay in our hearts. And that really is as simple as it is. And they're really here just as these loving pillars as we're going through this process. So in that process, I have a trance channel, which means I take a little bit of a step out of my body. She comes in, and then she sips her earth and talks to y'all, and we'll have some things to say. So without any further ado, I'm going to go ahead and go right out, and we'll put you in touch with the Pleiadians. All right, here we go. Greetings, this is DiYeena of the Pleiadian family. You see, we are here, we love to say, to bring the love, you see, because it's important to know who you're talking to and make sure they're in the right energy, you see. So we just want to say it up front to make sure that everyone knows we are in the circuitry of the hearts here, you see. This is really the intention, you see. And to amplify the circuitry of the hearts, if you have a drink, if you are familiar with DiYeena, you know by now to have your cup of tea ready to go. If you are new here or forgot, it is okay, you see. If you have a sip of water, that is good too. What we are doing here, taking the sip of the earth, you see, it is first of all good to know where you are on the earth, to have been that union, that connection with the earth, you see. And so when you are taking in the frequencies of the plants through the liquids here, you are taking in, especially if you are growing the plants around where you live, you see, then you are amplifying that circuitry and that relationship, you see, with the energetics of the plants around you, you see. So it is really, really good to do, you see. And then the water element is multidimensional. So we are also able to commune through all the different dimensions, you see, and to really bring in the information through fancy ways, you see, through the water, because water is very fancy when you understand it, you see. So we are going to take a sip and see what we are. And this also connects us all together, you see, in the circuitry because of the water, you see. So it's very good. So if you have a sip, you can do. If not, you can still do in your mind or swallow a little spit, you see. This can also work, you see. It sounds a little silly, you see. If we are going to pretend we are just 4 years old like our little ones, you see, that would be their solution, you see. We'll just have a little spit and we'll all call it a good day, you see. Let's see where we are. Ah, very good. So we are talking about your fake New Year. Is this correct?
Yes, we are.
Yes, you are wanting to know about the cycles and the seasons here of this particular quote unquote time in your history, you see. Well, we like what you are saying here, and what to amplify or to really bring into more the grander perspective here is that there are timings in place already. There are cycles that are already built into the design, so to speak. So there are already these designs that are in place, and they're already happening. Like we're going to make a little pun here, like clockwork, you see, because it is already on schedule, you see. So in the world of timelessness, you see, we have all these clockworks happening. Isn't that funny? You see, we're trying to make a little joke, you see, but it is really fun, you see. So it is already part of it, you see. So there is nothing that you need to quote unquote do to make this happen, you see. It's like a flower. When it is the time to bloom, it blooms, you see. When it is the time for the caterpillar to come out of the cocoon, it turns into the butterfly. You see, it is encoded already in the DNA. You see, so you have the encodings within the DNA to already make the shift, you see. So 2025, where you are at, you are using these numbers, you see, but it is not about the numbers. What it is really about is where are you in your alchemical process as a collective, you see. So this is really what is happening is you are in this process of alchemy that is already in process, is already in movement, you see. So we are already in the motion. This is what I was tuning into with the train analogy. You see, there is no stopping it, you see. It is already happening, you see. So this is why you all are having, in different ways, some more than others, things like what you call ascension symptoms. You see, we're having different physical symptoms going on in the body where like, this is new. I've never experienced that before. All of a sudden, my ears are much more sensitive when I wake up in the morning, or I'm having very vivid dreams, or all of a sudden I'm being able to see colors around everyone's bodies like I never used to see that before, or whatever the case may be. Or I feel very hot, very, very hot. I'm not having a hot flash, but I'm feeling very hot. I'm sweating. I cannot get cool enough, you see. Even in the ice bath, I still feel hot. What is going on here, you see? We can joke around like this because we also know that we have individuals that would come to an event like this who are also very keen on the ice baths and the saunas and the hot cold plunges and the mud water and all of these things that really are shortcuts, you see, to making your life great. You see the biohacking. You see, we're playing around because we know we probably have a couple biohackers in the room. You see, so no matter what you are doing, you just cannot get cooled down, you see. So it's really the point, you see. So all of these different symptomologies of the body or the subtleties that are going on, you see. These are all a reflection of the bigger thing that is happening within the collective, you see, which is really this shift of the alchemical process into a less dense version of who you already are, you see. So it is just simply shifting this perspective, and it happens in a moment's notice. It does not take time. It is simply in a moment. All of a sudden, you are in the new experience of a different density, a different way of being in a different type of world. You see that all matches in its resonance, its harmonics, and all of these things. So 2025 is simply that year of compression, you might say, where it is all just kind of coming to a head, you see, where or all of these energetics are really starting to crystallize a little bit more to where it is really just no turning back from it, you see. So the evolutionary process is in motion. It is right on track, you see, and you are all showing up for it. You see, this is why we have such good group here, you see. Everyone showing up for themselves, everyone showing up in their role, you see, which is to be in the heart, you see. Isn't this fascinating?
It's so fascinating. And first of all, I just want to say thank you for being here with us, DiYeena, and
Oh,
the
yes, my dear.
entire,
Welcome. Hello, my dear. How are you? We forgot to
yeah.
even say hello, my dear. We just went right for it because we are so fascinated by this year, you see. But we would like to say hello to everyone, my dears.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, I mean, the energy is exciting right now. So it does feel just kind of like the freight train analogy. It's like, let's just get into it and get the momentum going. But
Precisely.
yeah, I just wanted to say thank you for being here with us and just thank you to the entire Living Ma collective for being here as well. And thank you to everyone who is in all of the spaces with us right now, just in this circuitry of our hearts together as we, even though it's I like how Ava said it of like it was because of the taxes. I was actually getting quite a bit of a chuckle. I was like, oh man, those taxes are just messing everything up, even the calendar and the cycles. But there are a few questions in the chat that I would love to get to as well. And so the first question is coming forward from Bodhi. And hi, Bodhi. Thank you for being here. So the question is, it's so hard to just stay in the heart and not feel that I need to take more action. Could you speak into that a little bit, DiYeena, for everyone that's
Oh, this
feeling
is
that way?
such a good question, you see, because there is inspired action within all of this, you see. So where to really feel into, you see. So this is really letting the heart, because the heart is not some this limp noodle just hanging around with nothing going on, you see. It's very dynamic in there, you see. So once you start to poke around a little bit, you realize, whoa, this is really much more than I bargained for, you see. You will start to have this experience of, whoa, I just thought this heart was just a beating thing, or some warm and fuzzy feelings, or perhaps if you have not done you have some trauma, perhaps it is just a scary place where we just don't like to go there very often because it's painful, or there's grief, or whatever the case may be. But we typically have already an understanding of what that space is for us, you see, in our form, you see. So either it is a lovely place to go, perhaps a not so lovely place to go, and this is how we define it, you see. But regardless, once you start to go in there, whether it is good or not so good for you, you see, you start to do it because this is your mission, why you come, and you're like, okay, we're going to just warrior up here and do what we know we came to do here, in the sense of really, really doing our internal process, you see, really clearing the density. This is the point, is that the part of it is going into the heart, you see, is lightening up, is helping to lighten up the frequency, because you're able to release the density that might be there, or any other traumas, or any other stories, or anything like that, you see. You're able to free it, give it a voice, give it a little bit of a hello, you see. Something like this, you see. So as you're in there, kind of poking around, seeing what is there, you see, also like, wow, this is really, really deep hole. It doesn't really seem to have an end. You're like, whoa, where else can it go, you see? And you start to play around in there, and you realize, whoa, this is really big, you see. This is really big, you see. And then you start to have other realizations that we cannot tell for you. You have to have them on your own, you see. But the heart is really important to be willing to go into, you see. It is really the all of it, you see. So as you go in there, you maybe start to feel like, well, this just feels like I'm being lazy, you see. I'm just going into the heart and just sitting here and waiting for something to happen, but nothing's happening. My DiYeena, what are we doing wrong? What is happening here? What you'll notice is that what you're in there, you see, there is infinite possibility. First of all, infinite possibility. So it is simply tuning into what is your particular flavor of the infinite, you see. And as you're in there, you start to realize, well, we can go in any direction we please, you see. And this is where you get to tune into your particular design, not just to put pressure, because for everyone here, just to clear that up, it is simply to be your frequency, your soul song, as we were talking earlier. So there is no specific, oh, DiYeena, I do not know my mission. I do not know my purpose. This is getting more complicated. Take it off that shelf there, you see. It does not need to be more complicated, because the essence of it all is that everyone here to be your frequency, to sing your soul song, you see. So that is your purpose. Do not make it more complicated than that, you see. So in that, you see, as you're singing that soul song, you're in there, you're having a little jam, you're grooving around, maybe you're even doing a little dance, a little jiggy with it, so to speak. You're in there, you're like, wow, I got a really good beat, you see. This is really something special. The fun thing is that everyone's soul song is their favorite song, you see. So your soul song is your favorite song ever, you see. So when you start to go into the heart enough to where you can actually hear your soul song, well, this gets fun, because then you're like, whoa, you start to fall in love with yourself in a deeper way, because for one, it's just some good tunes, you see. It's just some good tunes you want to hear over and over and over again, you see. And so in that, you are really able to be in that space, you see. And then when you are really doing that, you see, what begins to happen is you are able to then rise, you see, in whatever way you are feeling inspired to rise, you see. So for some, you may jamming along, you see, going to the beat of it, you say, wow, this is really great, you see. You know what I feel like doing? I feel like baking some donuts right now. Or another one might think, you know what I feel like doing? I feel like going for a run. Another one may like, you know what I want to do? I want to go over, and I want to go over to that homeless guy and maybe have a little chat and see how I could maybe help, you see. Or someone may be like, oh, I just got to get out the paintbrush and see where this takes me. Others may be like, I've been wanting to create this one thing. I have this great idea for this invention, and I just know it would really help people. You see, so you get to work and you start to create in that way, you see. So it is from the inspiration comes the action, you see, from being in your authenticity, jamming to your own soul song, that is what is creating the inspired action, you see. So that should never really feel like a pushing if you're really in the flow of it all, you see. And so if there is nothing coming, you see, then you just kind of simply get a little deeper, allow yourself to go a little bit deeper so you can hear your soul song. And I'm not saying that everyone has the physical ears to hear it. You see, this is not the point. You see, it is really just getting into the frequency of who you are. You see. So it is really more just kind of having a good time with yourself, being okay with who you are, being comfortable being with yourself, you see. These are the pieces, you see. And then from that, you get to really just be in the actions that are really calling to you, you see. So some may be like, this is great, let's make some babies, you see. Some others may be like, you know what, this is great, I'm taking a nap, you see. That feels like the most loving to do, you see. Some be like, let's go make a garden, you see. And so it begins to be not only what sounds good to you, but it keeps you in the joy frequency because it sounds exciting and enticing to you. But it also begins to align naturally without any efforting with why you come, you see. So you come with the purpose of shining your soul song, singing the soul song, being in the frequency. And from that naturally is going to be a creation that comes from it, you see. And that kind of changes over time in your different seasons, you see. We created children, which we believe we had maybe one running around here a little bit ago, you see. Things like this, you see. You create the different beautiful things, the flowers grow, you see. So we all are in these places where we are creating, you see, and that gets to be our little gift to the world, you see. Many gifts for some, in others, it's simply just being the note that is really the important part. They're sitting there, they're holding the note, they're being the meditating, and that is the life, you see, really holding a powerful, in some it's a really good note, you see, a really good deep note that is really just so yummy that you just want to hear it all the time, you see, and it's just holding the field for so many, you see. So we have those important roles too. We're just going to go and be a good meditator, you see. Just to get really good at it and just be there and to just have the simple life, you see, to be supported in that, you see. So it does not have to be so action oriented. And then you're like, well, DiYeena, we've created really crazy lives for us over here. How do we keep up with all the life that we created if we're going to just simply allow our soul songs over here singing and pumping the beats, but then we're all of a sudden not able to pay the bills, you see? So that is where you have to do the little discerning there of where is their alignment, you see, with the life. Are the pieces here that could maybe do some shifting so that there can be more resonance and frequency alignment with what is really being asked of you, you see. So just noticing these places. This is making sense to you, my dears.
Yes, yes. And I love just how you had shared that, Diana, as, that was actually really um big breakthrough for me as well in the understanding that being in the heart center and tuning into the inner state of being doesn't mean that we also don't simultaneously show up. It's how can we take aligned action through the frequency of the heart, through things that are lighting us up, that our soul and our heart is truly desiring for us to pour into, while not getting too caught up in the mind or in the outside pressure of taking action because of a feel of a need to or a have to, or it's in the ways that we're maybe still being out of integrity with self, right? It's like the example coming up is like when we're still saying yes when we want to say no, right? Because we don't want to let someone down. It's like, where can you really fully be full integrity with yourself and your heart? And how can you take aligned action from that space and move forward from there?
Precisely. Precisely. Very well said. We love doing this with you, my dear, because we can just say a whole bunch of things and then you just really tie it all up in a very neat bow, you see. So it's very helpful for people, you see. So it's
Mhm.
very good. Very nice.
Yes.
Yes.
Amazing. So the next question here is from T, and it says, does the collective tower moment mean that we will necessarily have our own?
It can, you see.
Mm.
Because again, you see, we are all hologram, you see. So it's all connected, you see. So we cannot just pretend, oh, that is over there, not to do anything with me, you see. there are still parts that are of course going to be affected, you see, but it is really our sovereignty and our power to really choose how we are affected by it, you see. So even if the tower moment is happening, you see, doesn't mean that it has to be painful, doesn't mean that it has to be hard, doesn't mean that it has to look a certain way that would often be associated with negative experiences or feelings, you see. It can actually be a very beautiful, awe-inspiring moment, you see. Because if you are in the hard frequency, no matter what is happening around you, you see, parts of yourself die off, they fall apart. You say that, oh, there's a whole crap load of me just laying on the ground over there. What happened? But you are recognizing the truth of it, which is that it is not your essence, you see. So it was a simple story that needed to go in order for you to be in the lesser density. So these are things that are towering off, so to speak, you see, are the things that are really not ourselves. They're not you see. So when you are in the frequency of you, your authentic you see, then when something falls off that is not you, well, let's just say, oh, it's like a crumb falling off your face with a little bit of cake that you had from over the holidays or something. It's like, oh, there was a crumb left over. We just wiped that off, you see. It's not you see. So it does not hurt. It does not, do not cry over the crumb that fell on the ground from your cheek, you see. You simply recognize, oh, that is not who I am. That is just a little bit of a mess that you need to be cleaned up, you see. So it's just a perspective in how we are showing up for it. Or we can do the thing that a lot of us like to do, but we put emotion around it, we put story around it. We say, oh my goodness, there is a huge piece of something on your face. Do you know that that is there? Oh my goodness. Oh, this is just the end of the world. You see, I'm not going to have any friends because this big thing is on my face. You see, it's got a black, it's chocolate. It is, this does not go good with my complexion here. Look at this. It does not match, you see. And then it has sprinkles on it. And oh, nobody is ever going to want to talk to me ever again, you see. And I may as well just even forget about showing up to anything outside, you see, because it's just too much, you see. And I cannot be in the sun anymore because it will melt and then it will look even worse, you see. So we're just going to have to stay in the walls all the time, you see. And now I will never get married. I will never have the children. It is just a ruined life, you see. We do this. It sounds so silly, right? It sounds so silly, but we do this all the time with little crumbs, you see. We make decisions about that crumb and we make really important meaning to it. And we give it emotion and we say, oh, well, this is really the end of the world, you see. And we don't recognize it for what it is, just a crumb that just needs to be wiped off, you see. And it is really just a neutrality of energy in its essence, you see. We are the ones that can choose if we wanted to have a lot of meaning and a lot of weight and a lot of pain and a lot of everything to it, you see. Oh, but DiYeena, I had this thing happen and it really, you don't understand. It is painful. There is a lot of grief or there is a lot of pain in the experience and even stored in my body. And it's every time we go into it, it just feels so painful. I cannot even do it, you see. And so we get that there are places that we've already created the story. So what to do now? You see, it's not like we're creating the new ones, you see. We're just trying to deal with the old ones, you see. So it's just really just giving yourself the recognition that even those, you see, up until this moment have been painful. But this moment is a new one. You see, you just had a new breath. You see, now we are in a totally the new world, you see. Every breath, a totally new life. So you're choosing every single time you breathe in what that story is, you see. And we perpetuate it over and over again with the breaths. We like to dig in the truth of it. You see, we create our truths. At this moment is going to have a certain energetic to it. And we say, oh, I can tell you exactly where it lives, even in my body, you see, and this is the story, and it's from my mother, and this happened, and this is real, you see. We tell ourselves these stories so much that we continue to believe it to be real every single breath. We do not give the new breath a chance to have a new story, you see. We could easily have the story different, to think, oh, okay, this is an interesting frequency. This is not my essence. Do I need this anymore? You see, kind of maybe pick it up, take it off your shoulder, hold it, look at it. You're like, huh, very interesting one. Well, let's just see what happens if we put it over there. Oh, it's fine. Now I feel a little bit lighter, you see. We do not even give ourselves the chance to have a different experience with it when it can really be simple, you see. So give yourself the chance to have a new story, you see, because you are really the powerful one here that gets to decide when the story ends. If you're telling yourself a story that you're not so happy with, well, okay, have we had enough? Are you done with that one? You see, it gets to be that simple, you see, and you will realize that you really do, when it gets to the moment when you have had enough, we really have, it really is that simple as wiping off the crown, you see. So you can have your tower moments, and many of us will naturally, you see, but whether it gets to be a moment of awe or a moment of pain, well, that gets to be our choice. You see, that gets to be the choice point. You see, you get to choose how you show up for it and what story you make of it. You see, you can make a story of it. Whoa, this is the most miraculous thing I've ever seen in my entire. Did you know that we could do that? Did you know that there was a creator that could do that? Did you know that we are a part of this creator? Did you know that that could happen? And watching it through those eyes of being in the awe of what can be in the alchemical process, what can happen, is fascinating, you see. And it's beautiful, you see, for eyes that can see it, for eyes that can see it.
So good. Thank you for sharing that, DiYeena. I'm just getting some comments over here on in the Zoom room saying when it's put like that, it's so simple, actually funny how we make things so serious when it could be lighthearted. That's from Leela. And so incredibly true. Lauren's just saying, oof, that was so good. T says, thank you. And Lauren said, this is so spot on with what I just integrated. So, so powerful. So thank you for sharing that around the tower moment. I have a question here by from Susan. And Susan's asking, how soon will they stop trying to hurt our meat and poultry supply and our food with GMOs and animal vaccines and the glypho glyphosate? I hope I'm saying that.
Glyphosate, I believe, is how you say
Okay,
it,
okay.
you
I was
see.
like, I don't know
Yes.
if I know how to pronounce that word.
Yes, we're surprised too. You see, we do not really have those things either where we are from,
Uh-huh.
you see. So
And
it's very interesting.
pasteurized, yes, and pasteurized milk and pasteurized juices and pesticides, etc. And the burning down of small food distributors. So really just around our food and when is the corruption really gonna end with the food supply?
Yes, you see. So this is part of the tower moment, you see. It's all coming crumbling down, you see. They can no longer have their heyday, you see, is over, you see, in a certain way, you see. So it's just a little bit of cleanup happening now at this point in the game, you see. But really the deeper question here is really around what is really happening on the energetic level, you see, with the humans is we are moving from the density where these ways that we're the inputs, we'll put it like that, the inputs for humans, you see is shifting, you see. In the new earth, you see, not the food so necessary, you see. So you may even find yourself gravitating toward more lighter forms of intake, you see, bringing in more of the sunlight, you see, bringing in more of the foods that contain the sunlight, you see, higher vibrational foods that contain more of the light, you see. It's going to lighten up physically, you see, literally, you see. So this is really where people are not naturally are more naturally being drawn to, especially certain ones here like yourselves who are really here to really hold for the collective as we're moving through the tower. You see, we have certain souls here that are really here to really remember to hold the heart, you see. So in that, you see, you may be called to maybe not even be using that forms of getting the food, you see. And we're going to be moving more into more communities, you see, rather than relying so heavily on these things called grocery stores, for example, you see. More local in general. You see, many of you are already on that train of at least local. If you are still eating the animals and their products, you see, you are at least, you know the farmers, you see, and you maybe even are in relation with the animals, you see. So this is important, you see. So it is going to be more of a circuitry, you see. So this is almost like that way of being, and the chemicals and all the things is really an interesting way of the dark, showing the light that hey, even though if you are not in the right circuitry with how you are what you are putting into your form, you see, you do not even know, you've not even seen the face of what you are putting into your body. You see, did you really know their life? You see, are you in that relationship? You see. You see, so it's really asking the deeper questions of getting into the right circuitry and relationship with that which you are taking in from the mother, you see, because it is really a bigger piece here that is really being re-alchemized within the collective, you see, and as we kind of lighten up in that way, you see, just becomes a little bit less reliant on the food in general. You see, we don't really need the food so much, you see, in these higher dimensions at all. More for the enjoyment of it, you see, more for the play of it, more for the fun of it. You have a fruit tree because you want to just have the fruit tree and have a little piece of the fruit to be in the relation of it. You see, you like it, you see. No, not because you need it, you see, not because you need it to survive, you see. So the question of when the food starts to not having all these big pharma whatevers, it is showing that we really have got off track with even having the big pharma whatevers, you see. It's really meant to be, that's not the original design, you see, was to have these big things feeding everyone and putting them all on these metal things with the whale tires, and we put it all over the world and we take them from one side to the other and we fly them all over the place, you see, never in the design, you see. So it's really about getting back into the circuitry of where you are living on Mother Earth and getting into right relationship with the plants and perhaps the animals that live there on your land, you see, getting in that cycle. If you're not in a position to be in your own land, you see, getting in relation with the farmers that live right next door or in the same town or the neighboring town. These are the simple shifts, you see, we can start to make now so that these are not even fearful questions. This is really important because then you take the power away. If no one's buying those, well, then they have the problem, don't they? You see, if we are really having the relations with our farmers, well, then we win. You see, we've really won the game then at the end of the day. But it is really about the energetics of the heart and the circuitry about what you are communing with at the end of the day. And this is the important part, and this is the important role that the dark is playing in this whole dynamic here, is showing us, wow, we've really gotten a little off track here in how we're relating with our food. Let's get back on track, you see.
Yes, I love that answer, especially the last part of it's really the reflection back to us of we've gotten a little off track and how can we just like coming into right relationship with self and our heart, how can we come into right relationship of all th with all things? And Susan was just saying, thank you, that was a good answer. Um, but also sharing around the sun that they're blocking the sun as well. And getting in right relationship with the energy of life and the earth. Nice, thank you. And so, yes, that's a great point, right? The sun is being blocked out in many different ways. And it's not something that's super new either. And it's something that I believe that a lot of the corruption that's coming to light right now is not something that just started. It's something that we're now bringing awareness to. And the collective is waking up. And I believe that's going to be the really beautiful thing about this 9 year together collectively is that the ways that the corruption and the powers that be have been operating and doing things to harm our air and the sky and the plants and the animals and the water supply and all the things that the more of us that awaken to that truth, there are a lot of people out there right now that are on the front lines of creating change and shifting that for the collective. And so we get to hold that higher vision in our heart and do what we can through our aligned action steps to make that happen as well. And all of that, all of those ripples together, I do believe are is going to be what's going to lead into these massive shifts happening.
Precisely, you see, and also to is really to point out here that it is really, do not let your power be taken over so easily by these things that are happening outside of self, you see. Do not give your power, do not give fear over to whatever it is. Oh my goodness, they're blocking the sun. Can you imagine? You see, it is gone forever. You see, do you really think that creation is that stupid? You see, not to be undermining. You see, but really, it's really true. You see, we got it. You see, we've got this part figured out. You see, and really, it is in part of the game. You see, it is part of the game. You see, so they're doing a really good job at playing the bad guy. You see, so you got to give them round of applause. You see, where it is due, because it is really doing a lot to wake up the humanity. You see, it's really doing a lot to wake up the light. You see, so yes, they may be trying their best to even block out the one thing that is our life source. But guess what? They lose the game in the bigger picture, because it is not even the sun that's going to be in the new earth. You see, ha ha, joke is on them. You see. So really just trusting the bigger picture, recognizing that we're only seeing a sliver of really the reality that is, you see, and that there is really a much bigger story to it all, you see, and that when you can really just, again, come back to the heart, be in the frequency of the love, you see, it really is the simplicity of the winning, you see, the winning of the game, you see. It is really that simple, and that is their role of the dark side, so to speak, the bad guys, so to speak. That's really, they come down and say, okay, I'm going to go down. I'm going to play the bad guy so that you really remember. You see, you do a good job remembering. I'll do a good job trying to make you remember. And it's going to feel a little painful, perhaps, or you're going to really be like, oh, you see, and get into the fear. And you're going to be really good. You see, you're going to be really good, and you're going to wake up, remember it all, remember the truth, remember yourself, and all is going to be well, you see. And that is the game at play. That is the game at play, you see. So it is really important to remember everyone playing their roles, and to not get too tied down into this dimension of it all, that there is pieces at play, things happening, you see, and it is all purposeful, and everyone is playing their role perfectly, and it is right on time. It is right on time, and it is very purposeful, and it is no way, or the quote unquote dark, to win, because it is part of the way that it is encoded. It is part of the way the game is played, you see. You see, so it is just the little bit of fun that everyone is choosing to have in the illusion of separation, you see. So if you can simply let go and let play a little bit more, you see, let yourself be in that frequency of trust. Trust it a little bit more, be in the frequency of love a little bit more, you see, and let yourself have fun with it. You see, oh, there they go again, trying to block out the sun. Ha ha, you see, what are they thinking this time? You see, perhaps you stay inside that day. You see, you can still be smart about it. You see, you can still be smart about it, because you do have a form, you see, that is connected into to the circuitries, you see, of the different dimensionalities, you see. So it is important to know how to play the game, you see, right along with it, you see. So if we put a roof over the head while they're trying to do their thing, you see, and then we just really know when it is, how to play the chess game a little bit, you see. But just playing it with love, you see, not out of any kind of spite or anger or any other frequencies, you see, keeping in the frequency of love the whole time, you see. That is really the recommendation for all, you see.
Beautiful. Thank you for that, DiYeena. Um, Beautiful. So I'm going to go on to the next question. There was a question in here, I can't find it now, about cardinal signs, about having all three of your um, main three cardinal signs. So I'm not sure where it went, but what I do know about cardinal signs, especially stepping into this 9 year, is that cardinal signs are really here to be initiators and to lead and incite change, basically. And so, if all three of your big three are cardinal signs, I would say you're really here to shake some shit up for year 9 and incite change and whatever that means in your own life and in your community as well. So I'm not sure where it went, but I just wanted to touch on that. Okay, and on to Christy. Christy is sharing importance of language really resonates. Reminders that the tower moments can be just as joyful, rebirth versus horrific fear-based death. Yes, Christy, so much yes to that. Enjoy the phrase plot twist. We say be on the same page. How much on the same page can we be when filtering through our narratives?
Was that the question?
I think the last one was a question. How much of the same page can we be on when filtering through the narratives?
Do you mean the same page between the light and the dark?
Is that what you mean, Christy? Can you maybe clarify a little bit on that question?
because we can get how when you come down to the density, you see, you forget a little bit. You do forget that was the agreement. So then that's why it's easy for the light to get in the fear. You see, for it to feel like the dark is winning, you see, because it feels like we're not on the same page at all. You see, we're on complete opposite ends of the spectrum here, and there's no common ground, you see. And that is why it feels like there's why do the wars and the fighting and all the things, you see. But when you really get to the essence of it, you see, you recognize that the humans are good at the core, you see. There's just the play happening, you see. And so really at the end of the day, you see, it is really recognizing that even on the third dimension, you see, where we're experiencing now, it would maybe appear that you are having these good guys and bad guys having their different roles, you see. You can go just a little bit lighter in the density, and there's a whole different game with the same souls, you see. Perhaps they've even switched their roles. You never know, you see. But recognizing that there is infinite versions, you see, happening and playing out, you see. And we try all kinds of contraptions and combinations, you see. Well, look at we'll go down this time. You do it this way, I'll do it that way. Like, oh, look, let's switch it up this time. Or let's try it this way. We do it all kinds of different ways. And then we get really creative. Okay, well, I'm going to take just a little bit of my soul and I'm going to split it up in two different timelines or multiple. Some of you, we've had some of you coming off to DiYeena with that have split your soul so many times that you are just exhausted, you can't figure where out you are, you see. So we got to bring you back, you see, to your body. But what they're saying here is that the game is playing out and you get good at the game, you see, because your soul is infinite. You want to try it so many different ways, you see. That is the fun of the experience itself, you see. So at the ultimate part of it, you are on the same page because there's only one page. It's you see. You see, so it is also remembering that whatever you are seeing in the mirror, you see, is part of yourself. You see, so when you can see that, then we get to really understand these parts of these aspects of ourselves and what is really being called to be alchemized or shown or to be transmuted or learned or witnessed or experienced, you see. And it can be a big thing or a little thing, you see. Sometimes we give often overemphasis on the life and what it means and what we're supposed to do with it and how good of a job we're doing working through all of our things, you see. And really, it's the essence. It's the essence and the frequency that is really mattering so much rather than the details of how it's all playing out. You see, that is just the fun. And maybe it feels like fun. Sometimes it doesn't feel fun at
Mhm.
all, you see, recognizing that this is all
I
part of it.
appreciate, thank you. I appreciate all those comments so much. And I was even speaking on much more of a micro level of just, especially coming from the holidays, seeing all of the just different families and friends and work and the micro miscommunications that happen that cause so much pain and inefficiencies, and like how to just improve upon those and I guess be helpful when that's happening.
For sure. Well, thank you for clarifying your inquiry, my dear. We love you. It's very good to hear your voice. You see, you're a beautiful song, my dear. Very beautiful song. And to really understand that it is also part of recognizing what we bring to the table, you see, in these moments, you see. So we are all coming with our own stories, our own expectations, our own preferences, our own desires, you see, of how we would like it to go. They come with their own set of all of those things as well, you see. So it is natural for those to not always jive, you see. So the question is, can we just see, oh, wow, these are two songs that really, even the best DJ could not make them really, really jive together. You see, it would really just not sound so good, you see. But can you really see that and just have a joke about it, you see, rather than it being just the worst day of the life, you see, because the sound is just, this is the worst DJ in the world. It cannot make these two sounds go together, you see. And really just recognize that it's different missions, different experiences, different desires, you see, coming together because of the love, you see. So, and they're paralleling. So it's coming for family members, especially. You're paralleling lessons and desires of your soul, what you're coming for, you see, whatever it be, your mission or a healing or a passion, you see, already things that we come to experience for specifically as a soul, you see, we line it up very well. You see, we put all the players in place to really set up our success, you see. So we're going to have the ones that are going to rub against that, you see, reminding us to show up in our authenticity so that we can really do it, you see. So that usually requires a few grumps along the way to really test our patience, test us in showing up in that particular way. You see, so instead of seeing it's like, oh, this is really challenging, difficult, it's just unpleasant, or why can't they just do it this way or see it from my perspective, or whatever the case may be, you see, or it just feels hard, you see. Can we see them as a gift? Can we see that what they're bringing is a gift to ourselves, you see? And that we are also bringing a gift to them, whether they see it or not, too, you see. And we may not see the gift they're giving, you see. There's just maybe gifts flying all over the place. We're just missing them, not even realizing they're flying through the air. And that happens a lot, you see. Gifts are flying through the air. Nobody even knows that they're there, you see. Because we're too caught up, you see, in the spin of it all, you see. And that's okay, you see, but to recognize that there is a little bit of an opportunity there, especially with those that we come in with these contracts, these family contracts, you see, to really have these mirrors really strong and shining very brightly in our faces all the time, you see. These are the ones, you see, because we love them so deeply. And we are choosing to play out with them in many, many timelines, many different versions, many different experiences. Okay, you do that this time, I'll do that this time, and then we'll switch it up in the other way, you see. These are all the different ways. And so when you are starting to increase your awareness, you start to be aware of all these different, even some of you maybe are aware of these other timelines at play, you see. Oh, this has happened. You are aware of what you call the past lives, which is really now, you see, not happening past, present, or future. It's all now, you see. But you're becoming more aware as you become more sensitive and open to to who you are, the fullness of who you are, that you're starting to see the play a little bit clearer. And when you begin to see the play clearer and clearer, there's less charge around it. There's just simply less charge. There's more grace. There's more acceptance. And there's more ability to really allow each other to just be who they are, you see. To really, and this is really the place for all of us to really get into, regardless of whether we agree or like the songs that everyone else is singing. You see, we do not like everyone's soul song. It's okay, you see. But everyone's soul song is important, you see. So can we at least be in honor of the song that they sing, you see, even if we don't like it so much and would like to just go to the other room, you see, and recognize that that's okay, you see. But thank you for your song. I'm sure there are people that love your soul song, and there are, you see. But it's okay if it's not you, you see. So recognizing when it is appropriate to just take a step back, you see, recognizing when it's appropriate to see it through new eyes, you see, to soften our expectations a little bit, to soften the ways that we are showing up so that there can be space for both songs to be in their authenticity, you see. Not putting so much pressure on one another to change or to be like the other or to conform, you see, to a particular way of being or doing or experiencing, you see, but to just let each other be their soul song, you see. Oh, you got a good one going over there, got a good one going over here. We can have a little bit of a meal and then we'll say our piece, you see, whatever it needs to look like, you see. And recognizing why we made these agreements with, especially with the family members. Why? You know, really getting clarity on those pieces, because then that also gives you a deeper level of awe, a deeper level of love, a deeper level of, wow, you love me so much that you're going to play that role? Oh, but I'm going to hate it so much. I'm going to be very mad at you most of my life. You see, we get into these places with some of our family members, you see. And when you can really take a step back and recognize the role that they are playing for you, and vice versa, all of a sudden, there is just sometimes even tears because you recognize the depth of the love that they must have for you in order to play that role where they know, oh, you're probably not even going to like me very much for most of your life. Okay. But it's so important. I love you so much. I'm going to do it anyway for you, you see. We do this, you see. So can we be in that place? Can we be in that place with those that are in our life who are maybe the most challenging of all, you see?
Beautiful. Thank you for that share, DiYeena. Um, there's quite a few questions in the chat. I'm going to try and get to as many as we possibly can before we go ahead and close out because we're already a little bit over time. So I'm going to get to the next one here from Jolie. What is happening in terms of DNA activations and strands?
Well, it's always happening, you see. So we are really at the place now, you see, where very interesting. So we just had a recent, what we call a last Lion's Gate, you see. So we're going in little stepping stones, you see, of activations, you see. So Mother Earth going through, she just went through the eighth opening of Stargate. So more information coming into her frequency, you see. She's already integrated into 13, you see, holding for all of her dear children to be reactivated in this process, you see. So what is happening, you see, is that as a collective, you see, we are moving into the activation of the original human blueprint of the 13 DNA strands, you see, which are already coded within the form, you see. So we have two activated in the design right now. Whoop-de-doo, you see. That's a lot that are not, you see. You see, so we are really in this process now of activating, turning back on all of these ways that we are designed to be superhuman conductors in the process of awakening. You see, we are really powerful. You see, humans are really, really beautiful, powerful beings and creatures of creation. You see, and the 13 is really that central column that connects you directly into the source of creation itself. You see, the infinite of the possibilities. You see. So it's activating that spiral then of the 12 columns of the 12 strands and then the central column of the 13, you see, and that is really the divine union that's coming into play, you see. So what is happening then on the more immediate level is what is happening with humanity and on an individual level and collective level is we are coming back into a deeper relationship of union within the masculine and feminine counterparts of our bodies. You see, the physicality of our bodies. You see, so this shows up even in the places where we experience pain, discomfort, disease. You see, in the body, you see, these are, you have the right and left sides of the body, the masculine, the feminine sides of the body. You see, so you're paying attention to where are these things showing up for you, discomfort, disease, you see, and noticing that these are reflections of imbalance within the feminine and the masculine areas of your form, you see. And so we're coming into this place, and this is why we have, like, for example, this is a little off track, but you'll understand in a second. So there are many fractalizations of Mary Magdalene, for example, in a lot of the women's, you see, on your planet right now. You see, that's a lot of fractalization happening right now with the intention of helping to bring back into resonant frequency of balance the feminine, the masculine within the whole of the collective, you see. So because we've had such a heavy leaning toward the masculine and not a really balanced masculine either, you see, we are really bringing it back into not to tip it over to the other side of imbalance, you see, but to really bring it into the frequency of union, you see. So we are really coming into they call it the Christ consciousness, you see, but it is really missing the frequency of the Magdalene, the feminine, you see. So it's really the union consciousness, you see. It is the union consciousness, which was what the original teachings were of Magdalene and Jesus, you see. They were teaching union within, you see. So they were teaching how to activate the 13-strand DNA within the form, you see, and how to work with that, because when you are aware of your 13 strands in the activation and you are in right relation with all of the elements, so they were masters of working with the water and the air and the fire and the earth and the ether. They were really attuned to these places within the form that carry those frequencies of all of those elements. And so they were masters of working in these ways. And so they were teaching how to work with these elements within the form and how to alchemize, the process of alchemization, you see. So they were really working within those realms, you see. And so it is really a reactivation into that original remembrance of the original bloodline of Jesus and Mary Magdalene. You see, that is really what is happening with the DNA right now, is in the bloodline itself. The Christ consciousness is the union consciousness, you see. So that is what is being reactivated. And you have the bloodline, the active bloodline on the planet now that has been a little bit underground for a while, you see, that is alive, you see, and that it carries the codes of the original form, you see. And so it is reactivating on your planet in frequency, you see. And so what that is doing, then everyone is on their own timeline with that a little bit, but there is still a collective oneness factor at play here within the code of humanity, making this kind of cosmic jump, cosmic leap into an alchemization process into a new dimension of experience collectively. You see, so this is already happening and already coded in. So as we are shedding off the layers of trauma, of story, of things like this, you see, we are lightening up the ability for these DNA strands to be reactivated into the frequency of wholeness. So this is why you are experiencing so much in your world around these frequencies of the masculine and feminine, why there is a curiosity for many of you of what that really means and looks like to be in right relation with your masculine, right relation with the feminine, and to really come into to the right balance within those harmonics, you see, within those energetics, within the form. You see, this is the important part. It is within yourself. You see, it is not outside of yourself. You see. So these strands of DNA are being activated, you see, at many at their own timeline, you see. So you have beings on your planet already activated in the 8-strand DNA, you see, right step in sync, you see, with the Mother Earth stargates opening up, you see. And many of others still in the 2, you see, and it is really, there is still that kind of process happening, you see. But as a whole, it is a moment of a switch flipping. You see, when there is enough of the density that has been shedded as a collective, you see, that gets to be the process of transition.
Beautiful. Thank you for that share. So incredibly powerful. We really are going, we really are going through a massive initiation through our DNA. And I love how you just weaved in Jesus and Mary Magdalene and the Christ consciousness awakening within us, because that's how it feels just on the depths of the level of our understanding also of what was their true path and what is the truth there.
Yes,
And
and
how
this
is
is not
that?
religion. This is not religious, you see. And this is really important. We don't mean to cut you off, but it's really important to say that, you see. It's not a religious thing at all, you see. It is actually a physical energetic at play here within everyone's blood, you see. So it is important to just name that that is the translation of the frequency itself. Continue, my dear.
Yes, no, that's exactly where I was going with that, was just the distortion of the truth behind it, and how even the distortion of that in the dark age, and how the truth is really coming to light. I feel like a more and more people are awakening to what is the true story behind this, and how is this actually this powerful ancient remembrance that's awakening within each and every single one of us, which is Christ consciousness awakening, which is the divine union of our masculine and feminine and the teachings of Jesus and Mary Magdalene. And so all of that is coming online, and it's coming online through these energetics in the DNA. And that's what's starting to weave and plug in, and it's just, it is a fascinating time to be incarnated here on this planet at this time. And so I'm in just the deepest awe and wonder of how is this all going to unfold. And um I'm just really on the edge of my seat of it, even in and that's, I think, that the place that we were speaking into as well, of even with the tower moments. It's like, even when everything is crumbling, can we be in the awe and the wonder of what is on the other side? What does the rebirth look like? And that's what gets me really excited about all of this. And
It's
also,
important. Hold on
yeah,
one moment as you're
yeah,
saying
go
that,
ahead.
because this is very, really, really where this is a hot one, you see.
Mhm.
You see, so all of you could have easily chosen to incarnate on the other side of this whole thing. Easily. You could have said, oh, what has come over when it's all smoothed over, you see. But no, you did not do that, you see. So we have, and this will come out when I believe it just went live, actually. You see, the podcast with the Gaia went live today, actually. If you've not watched that, you see, we go into the Gaia as a Akashic record, you see, and when we talk about the new Earth, you see. And in this discussion, you see, and part of this is really understanding how every soul here, we have all the ones from Lemuria, we have all the ones from Atlantis, plus all the star seeds from the other dimensions, you see, coming in specifically in the middle of the shit show, you see, to help the transition. You see, that is all of you. That is all of you. You have come and specifically saying, yes, no, this is important. We're coming for, you wanted to be in the hub of it, in the center of the whole thing, you see, because many of you have already had the experience of moving through this transition before. You've had it on other dimensions, in other timelines, as other star system beings, you see. So this is not new for you. So you come to support energetically in frequency. Whether your mind can wrap your head around that or not, or you don't even understand, maybe, who am I, a star seer, but am I not? You see, if you're tuning into a crazy Pleiadian talking over Zoom, you're most likely star seed, you see. So let's get that clear, you see. So recognizing that you said yes to this mission for yourself, for humanity, but there are no victims here, you see. So recognizing that you chose this moment, you did not just decide to wait and be sipping the margaritas on the other side. You said, we're going to go and be the anchor points in this transition so that we can really hold in this frequency of love for the collective, because it's so important, you see. So just recognizing your role in it, you see, that you are really, you have chosen well, you see. You have chosen well, and there are no accidents in the choosing of it all, you see.
Amazing. Thank you for that. I'm going to put two questions together just because they're kind of similar in a way, just for time here. But there's a question around, right, there's a lot of talk, there's a lot of buzz around seeing ships in the sky and extraterrestrials coming to our planet at this time. And so there's a question around, are they coming in physical form to help us, where we're actually seeing them in the physicality, like through the ships, or are they coming and influencing us in a different way, like through light, sound, energy, that kind of thing? And then there's also a question around, DiYeena, have you ever had a human incarnation?
Well, these are such good questions, you see. So to answer, what to say first. So the second question first, you see, we'll say, because it really speaks to everyone, you see. It gives a little insight into the multifacetedness of the soul fractal itself, you see. So it is, yes, you see, to answer the question, yes, DiYeena has, you see, had parts of the fractal, you see, that have had the footsteps on the earth, you see. At the same time, you see, because the Pleiadian frequency also has done this, you see. So it's really interesting how it's all connected in these ways, you see. But in the infinity of it all, you see, there is such complexity to the soul fractal that is really hard to pin it down to the third dimension and ask in the linearity that the question's coming, you see, because it is really much more dynamic than that, you see. So in the simplicity of it, you could say that, all souls have really had the touch point, you see, on all of the creation, you see. So when we say, oh, am I a star seed from Pleiadians or Lyra or Arcturian or wherever, you see. These are more, if you're feeling a certain connection or resonance, a particular star system, for example, it simply means that your soul is more tuned into that timeline in real time, you see, in real quote unquote time, you see, you're more aware of that version of yourself that is there, you see. But it does not mean that you are not equally in many other dimensions in star systems infinitely, you see, because that is really the vast nature of it all, you see. So it is really much more, it's a harder question to ask than it would seem, you see. It would seem to be a very simple question, yes or no, you see. But it is much more dynamic than that, you see. So that is a little bit of a flavor of that answer for you all to kind of have a little bit of a broader perspective of even who you are as a fractal, you see. And for the second question about the UFOs, you see, not so necessary, you see. You see, so you got to understand in the higher dimensions, we do not need to to come into the density unless there is an important purpose, you see. And if the higher dimensional beings that are benevolent would never come into a lower dimensional frequency if it was going to create fear, you see. So we would never come in a way that would create fear, especially collectively, you see. So this should be big clues for you in terms of what is happening on your planet now, you see. So in that sense, you see, the benevolent ones that are here helping have come in many different ways. So some are embodied in the physicality, having human experiences, you see. So this is why many of you feel like you are star seeds, because you are, you see, you're very connected into that, you see, that experience. Having a human experience, you see, but your soul very connected into these other places and very, very evolved souls, you see. Others are in the animals, you see, the dolphins, the whales, things like this, the tuna fish, you see, the fish in general, you see. So there are different ways that we are supporting on an energetic level. We come in the as guides, you see, for many of the embodied humans, you see. So we are there as guides and support team, you see. Then we have crazy ones like DiYeena, who are like, let's just get this really fun and go into do a body who will agree to have me in there, and we'll just have some fun and then have really no repercussions. That's all of us problem, you see. We're joking, you see. But you see how vast the story gets here. You see, there are many, many different ways that we come, but you see, you have to understand the simple energetics of intent, you see. And if a being is wanting to help, then they are not wanting to scare, you see. It is a very simple thing, you see. So you have to look at it through that very simple lens, you see. It doesn't mean that we can't create the ships, but for what purpose, you see. You see, for what purpose? So really asking these deeper questions, because if it is necessary, we can materialize. This is what how Jesus we have mastery over these levels of the alchemicalization process of the physicality of form, and we know how to move through that way. We're connected into the vastness of the multidimensionality, so that we can materialize in one particular dimension if it is helpful, if it is necessary, if it is loving and serving the collective, if it is really necessary, you see. So we have to really understand the intent behind the ones that are helping, you see, that there is really, it is coming from the essence of love. It is coming from the essence of desiring to help and support and create less fear, less paranoia, less worry. We are trying to help the humans, you see. So you're not going to come and create more of that fear, you see. So that is really the simple answer to that, you see. So we are coming in ways that are not so scary, you see. This is why it is fun to go swimming with the dolphins for most people. If you're not afraid of the ocean, you see, perhaps some of you are, you see. But if you're not afraid of the ocean, then it can be very fun to go play with the dolphins, you see, for example. You see, be very awe-inspiring experience to see a whale, for example, you see. So it can be very, very, very nice to have a very, very sweet dream, you see, or have an interaction, or even what we are doing here, you see. You're being uplifted in the frequency, the Pleiadian frequency, you see. So it is meant to be a positive experience, you see. So if the experience that you are witnessing around what they're calling extraterrestrial contact, open contact, UFO, this or that, to really ask yourself, does this intent feel loving? Does this frequency feel loving, you see? Because the ones that are here that are helping are loving, you see.
Beautiful. Thank you for that answer. Thank you for that share, DiYeena. And thank you for all of you for being here and sharing your hearts with us tonight. I know there's quite a few questions left in the chat. We are 30 minutes over, so just to honor everyone's time, we are going to wrap up today because we could just keep going and going and going. And I'm trying to be better at honoring everyone's time in this space. So we're going to wrap that up for this evening. If you have any questions and you're wanting to come into the community, we do moon circles in our silver level of membership, and that is every new moon, every full moon. We have a leadership aspect as well in the gold level. So if you want to dive deeper with us, we do so many calls a month. So this can be every week for you if you want to dive in and go deeper. But DiYeena, thank you for being here. Do you have last thing that you want to share just to wrap up this energy update for 2025 for everybody?
Really, yes, my dear. We will send some love, you see. Maybe just putting in the address, you see, so where people go to connect deeper if they would like, you see, put in some kind of let people know where to go to do that, you see, it would be helpful for those who are tuning in for the first time, you see. So something like you have the website address at least, you see, where people can go, perhaps.
Yes, I'm on it. I'm on it.
Okay, very good. Okay, we try to be technical, but we are not so good at that part, you see. But what we can say to everyone is that it is really a blessing to be in your presence and that we are so honored to hear all of your soul songs. You see, it is really a beautiful symphony when you all come together like this and play your soul song, come into a container with the open heart, and really allow yourself to be seen and heard and witnessed and dancing with the other humans in these spaces, you see. So we bless that you were all able to really unabashedly sing your soul song, to be your authentic expression in every moment of your life, so that you can really be the most you can be. Blessings from the Pleiadians. We love you all very dearly, and we would like to see you all again very soon. Blessings, my dears.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, DiYeena, for being here in the Living Ma. Just so much gratitude. So much gratitude for all of you for being here with us. Those that are on the Instagram live, that auto corrected to not the right website. Please don't go to that. I don't know what that is. It's playtorise.com for those on the live. Um, and thank you for all of you for being here and coming along this journey with all of us as always. Welcome to 2025, even though DiYeena always loves to poke fun at all of the made up dates that we have. But the beautiful thing that I love about these energy updates and even the portals that we have is it's a reason to gather. It's a time to gather, as she says. Whatever meaning we put to it is the meaning that it holds. And we get to gather at these times and remember our power and our innate truth, and have this circuitry of all of our hearts together to remind each other of how powerful we are, and to remind each other to stay in the heart and to stay grounded and centered no matter what is happening in our collective, that there really is something being beautifully birthed through each and every single one of us individually and as for a collective. And so I'm sending you all so much love and so many blessings for this year to come. And Ava, I don't know if there's anything you want to share before you go ahead and close up.
I just trust that this message was exactly what you needed to hear today. And blessings to all of you on this fake new year. May you really allow yourself to dig into the letting go season that this really is, and allow yourself the juicy spaciousness to really dive into the depths of who you truly are.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for being here, everyone. Sending you so much love, many blessings, and we'll see you all soon. Come play with us in the spiritual playground, which is Play to Rise. See you all
Thank
soon.
you. Thank you. Love you guys.
Bye,
Bye,
everyone. Love you
everyone.
all.
Bye.
Love you.